going on, everybody? Welcome to the Obsession. It is September 4th here in southern Wisconsin. Got the weed whacker with me. It's the last weekend we're actually going to be working on my property here. Then we're going to let it sit, obviously, until deer season starts, the middle of the month here in September. But I got some final trails I have to cut in with the weed whacker. You guys can see I got the blade on the front side of it. Just did one right over here to enter it up into the parking lot plot. We come in from below here, easy in, easy out. Great for does early and bucks come the end of October. Obviously during the rut too. But we're going to be cutting a few trails. This show is going to actually start out my levels. We're breaking the property down into 6 levels this year. We're going to start here on level 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to show you that today. We're going to break each food plot down, why it's there, talk about movement, talk why we laid the property out the way we did. Obviously, you guys know from past shows that I lay the property out for east-west movement consistently, and then level to level. We've got 400 feet of vertical transition, but level to level to help us in and out and not interfere with deer movement. That way they're less pressured and we can hunt more without letting the deer know they're actually being hunted. So that's kind of the plan. Obviously hunt on good weather only too. Big on pressures, big on weather fronts, all of that. You guys will see that throughout the year again also. But we're going to start here on level 1. I got the wheeler hooked up, got this all dialed in. We should be good to go. I'll show you some of the trails we got to cut. Basically I'm cutting north-south trail where we already have creek crossings. On the far east side of the property, as we can't get in there, there's a swamp you got to cross. We actually have a pallet bridge in there, but you can't cross that with a lawnmower, so we don't mow the trail there. So I'll be doing that with the weed whacker. It runs all the way up the east side of the property line. That way when we have west winds, we're blowing our scent directly off to the neighbors to the east of us. So that's the plan. Let's get started. I'm going to take you guys over to Mom's spot first. We'll start right there, and we will move forward from there and explain each level 1, 2, and 3 to you. Stick around. Alright guys, level 1 pretty much consists of, you guys seen on the pan shot here, you kind of seen the shroud that I built with corn. There's a bunch of, what the heck is that stuff? Basically just a bunch of weeds and stuff for the bottom here that grew back up, but you guys can see the corn there, and that's basically the shroud. This plot, my mom's plot, which is clover chicory mix that I make myself, 3 different types of clovers, well 4 different types of clovers, and then chicory. Came out pretty well for a first year set. You can see it's long and narrow, and then back over here on this side in that tree line is the ground blind that we built for my mom. Got a nice ramp up to it so she can walk right into it, be nice and easy in there. Also, if it's raining or nasty in here, you got to warm up. You can come down in here, warm up in there. Also, good chance of seeing good deer, especially during the rut. They like to cruise in and out of here. You guys seen all these trees, these smaller trees, high stem count in this bottom. So the bucks like to cruise through here, come in here and check for does. Does like to lay in the bottom here too. So, and then way on the other side to the east, you guys can see there's my neighbor puts corn in there. It's 2.5 acres. Narrow swath all the way through the bottom here. We got about a half a mile of road frontage, and he always leaves me 10-15 rows down the center of that because I don't charge him to put it in there, and he watches my property when I'm not around, and I appreciate that. So that's a pretty big deal to me. But this particular plot, Mom's plot here, like I said, is for my mom. It's level 1 of the property. It's more towards the west side of the property. And the cornfield goes all the way to the east side of the property. And basically we have mowed trails that run through here for ATVs and stuff in the summer, but the deer like to use them in the fall. The best thing about this area in here is it's easy to get into the stand. There's a ladder stand. You guys seen me shoot a buck I call a sweeper out of the first year I owned the property. Nice 130-inch 10-pointer that I shot there. And there's mock scrapes along these trails, and these deer like to use these mock scrapes, so that's where we pick up a lot of the action and know who's here and what's going on also. So that being said, like I said, easy in, easy out. quick food in the bottom, helps our deer transition, holds them here before they go to my neighbor's plots. It's not plots, but main fields for feeding in at night. So it helps hold the deer here on the property, staging up, and it's a good spot in the evenings for us to hunt. So, pretty simple level one, like I said. The other part about this that makes things fairly simple is if we have a wind like we have today, which is out of the west northwest at probably 8 to 10 miles an hour, in the evenings as that starts to die down, you could count on the last half hour the wind actually goes from east to west. I don't care if the wind's coming all day from the west. What happens is there's so much thermal activity in this valley, in the height, like I said, 400 feet of transition, that the downdrafts actually carry the scent straight down and straight to the west. And it's a given every evening. So, that being said, you can hunt these quite often. So that's kind of the other part about shrouding it from our parking area, being able to get in, easy out without educating our deer. They'll come in, they'll transition here. If there's deer that we'd like to shoot, you shoot the deer. If not, they transition up and go to the neighbor's fields to the north. Works great. So you can hear we're not too far from the road. Hear a car going by here. So, but it's shrouded here with all these trees and stuff. You can't see in, and kind of a nice little hidey hole for us to get in and out of. So we're gonna head down and kind of all the way to the east. I gotta mow those trails. Like I said, I'm gonna take the weed whacker in there. We're gonna mow those trails out so we got our easy access, and we will go from there. I'm gonna take you guys up to level 2, show you level 2, and talk about east-west transition on level 2 and why that positions or those positions are where they're at. Stick around. Moved down to the end of my mom's plot, so I'm on the east side of my mom's plot. Kind of showing you guys the corn here on a little bit of a pan shot. Got a mock scrape right behind me here with the camera location on it. They like to use this little corner, this point here. It's where they like to cross. Deer like to jump the creek line here. You guys seen last year I had Judas Priest jump the creek right here about where I'm standing, and the tree stand is 15 yards away. Never knew I was there. Nice 2.5-year-old 10-pointer I let go last year multiple times. So, like I said, this kind of all lays out east-west. Right now we're probably, I don't know, 1/8 mile down maybe from where the parking spot is, maybe a little bit further. We're going to continue through here. There's another creek crossing that I have with a bridge near a stand location about halfway down here into the cornfield, which is another good location for us to hunt. There's also a crossing bridge right here on this corner right by this ladder stand. But this is a good spot come later October in here. You could probably hunt it early for does, but I try not to get too carried away down in here. I like to leave this for my parents. Like I said, easy in, easy out for them. And then of course during the rut when the heavier buck movement comes, this seems to be a pretty good morning spot. These bucks like to transition in and out with this tree line and the food there to see if there's does around. Also, obviously they can check and see up into the neighbor's field from here if there's does up in there too. So that's kind of how it lays out. We're going to continue to the east now. Like I said, a few mock scrapes along here, some really good rub areas where these deer consistently rub year after year, and just kind of watching what's happened year after year on the property allows you to set stands and gives you information for the future year hunts. So always keep that in mind when you guys are, if you do own your own property or even if you're on public land, you know, look for past information also. It kind of gives you a good idea about where you should be hunting. So keep your eyes open for all that. Alright guys, well, we're on the far east side of the property now, my far property line. You see my wife is mowing down below. Hopefully she don't get stuck down there, but you guys see the east side of the cornfield, how much it narrows up over here. Where we enter, if we've got a west wind come in on this side, blows our scent straight over onto the neighbors over here. We don't interrupt any of the deer that's on our property. So technically right now I'm sitting on level 2, what I just showed you is level 1. I'm gonna actually run right up this property line with the weed whacker, give us a straight entrance into the east side of the property. We stay up here, there's a big cliff in there. We can actually stay on the east side of the cliff as we go all the way up to the top, so there's no chance of our scent getting over the top of this cliff. It's like 60 feet high, and we're on the bottom edge of it, so That's how we enter if we're going to be hunting the top, especially with a west wind. Otherwise, if we got a east wind, we can't enter this direction on the top for an entrance on the top edge of it, as we're just educating our deer where we come in here, so we don't even get to hunt the top with an east wind. So hopefully she doesn't try and come up that backside. If she does, we're going to be in a lot of trouble and she's going to get stuck. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, I'm going to start cutting up here. That's level 1. It's pretty simple, you know, a couple mock scrapes in the bottom there. Cornfield, my mom's plot. East-west movement. All we're doing is promoting that movement east and west there. Destination food plots on the far north side of that. My neighbor's alfalfa fields. Pretty easy how that all lays out. So level 2 here, like I said, this is the far east side of the property. I've done no improvements until we get probably 300 yards to the west. Maybe not 300, about 200 yards to the west. And that's where we start to run our long plot there. There's actually brassica and corn in there. We'll show that to you guys next, but I'm going to cut this out so we got our entrance on our east side. Alright guys, we are on the east end of level 2. You guys can see how I got the corn shrouded in this brassica plot. Basically you can see the rye's coming up. I actually put quite a bit of rye in here about a week ago. About 150 pounds per acre, this particular spot. Reason for that is the brassicas and the winter peas. So I got tillage radish, winter peas, and buckwheat in this particular food plot, and they are eating all the buckwheat and all the winter peas. Also had a bunch of turkeys in here. Got pictures of that. So I'm sure they're eating the little sprouts too, which is somewhat upsetting. This will be the second year in a row where this particular plot's gotten eaten like this. So like I said, I added 150 pounds per acre of rye in here. You guys can see the corn looks pretty good up above here, but if you look straight to the west over there, you can see where they had eaten it off right about waist height. There's still cobs on it, but they ate it off all the way down to the cobs. So that being said, I put winter rye and peas in there too. The peas are doing pretty good inside the corn. I think because they're protected, the deer just aren't going in there to eat it right now. So that'll be pretty good. You guys seen I did a little shot over here of the tree stand. There's a mock scrape in front of that. I do not have a camera on that particular mock scrape. I don't know why. I probably could add one. I guess I could add one over there and see if they're actually utilizing that particular spot. They used it a little bit last year, not as heavy as I'd have liked, but they do come in there and feed quite a bit. So all this winter rye will come up here in a couple of weeks. It'll be really nice and green. We'll check it then, so opening day of bow season. When we check it at that point, we'll assess whether or not I have to come in here with another 150 or 200 pounds of rye per acre and add to it, but I think we're going to be okay. And the brassicas that are here are doing really well, so I'm happy with that. So we'll see how things progress throughout the year. And like I said, I shrouded everything with corn this year, and the reason for that is to prevent the deer from being able to see from way up above. They would come out on the tree line or stand inside the tree line, be able to see all the way down to this particular plot. So I put corn up to create structure, and we did this on all of our plots, basically shrouding the plots, the brassica plots, to protect, well, basically what we're trying to do is make the deer move. We want them to come from above in the tree line down into here where it's easy for us to get in and out and be able to shoot a buck or a doe or whatever we want to shoot in these particular plots if you're going to hunt the plot itself with the wind correctly. So that's why all the corn is in. Use the corn to create structure. We talked about it all year when we were talking about how we were doing this particular property. A lot of people don't want to use food for cover or structure, and I understand that part of it, but our accesses are away from the food. So when we get down from the stand, we drop off this edge. So it's about 30 feet up from level 1. It's a few hundred yards from level 1 down below the corn that I told you guys or showed you guys earlier. So basically this is level 2. It runs 300 yards from end to end, east to west, and there are 1, 2, 3 brassica kill plots in this area on level 2. Level 2 also consists of a clover plot where there's a water hole, a pond, and also the parking plot or the shocker plot way to the west. Level 2 is probably our longest east-west transition based off of food, location, and tree stands, access to be able to get in and out easily. That's kind of how we laid it out. I'll show you guys on the aerials how it looks. But our whole idea here is to be able to transition to these plots, get a kill, remove the animal we've shot without educating the other deer. Whether or not we can pull it off, we'll see. It worked pretty well last year. We just added an extra level this year. We're going to go to next plot down. I'm going to show you a brand new brassical plot where I think it'll be really good for doing decoys. There's also a mock scrape in there, same setup as this, except the mix that's in there is tillage radish, purple top turnip. No peas, and no buckwheat in that. I did recently add rye in that, and we'll show that to you guys in a second. Stick around. Alright, well guys, this is the east side of level 2. You can see we created another inside corner this year again. Same as last year, using the corn as a shrub. You can see that the deer ate down the top edge of some of the corn out here too. So we've added again winter peas and winter rye in there. Just kind of have the deer have something in there. It seems to be doing pretty good. The deer don't seem to be going in there and eating it, so that's a bonus. Brassicas look good here. I did put rye in. You can see some rye coming up heavier in the open spaces. Looks like the brassicas are doing real well, so hopefully that'll continue. Got a camera down here. This is where Big Mike shot his 10-pointer last year, right here out of the Iron Throne. That really nice big bodied 10 that Mike shot, 130-inch deer. So we're hoping that this will, produce again. Obviously pre-rut, we get a lot of activity in here. Cameras have been showing a lot of doe activity in here and small bucks. That's kind of what's going on right now. We're waiting for the shift to continually happen here. Starting to see some of the bigger deer move around, getting a few pictures, so that's good. Obviously around the local area there's beans and corn and everything. Deer are still on those, but it's early September, expecting the shift to change. Hopefully get some of our bigger deer down in here. We're going to move on to the next plot down here. We're going to hit the clover plot, and then we're going to go over all the way over to the parking plot or the shocker plot. We'll show you guys the rest of level 2, and it should be pretty productive this year. You guys are getting the idea. We're running east-west movement for deer movement, kind of creating long narrow paths for them to follow food-wise, east-west. And if they want to change levels, then they got same food and different levels. That helps spread the doe out where you have less pressure, and then you're able to hold more bucks on the particular property. So we want our does bedding either in this grass or near the switchgrass that we've recently put in, which isn't going to be that big yet this year. This year it's probably only going to be about 3 feet high. We got some right here at the edge of this cornfield also. But next year we're expecting 5 to 6 feet of growth, and that is awesome for the deer. They'll be bedding on the edge of that or on the edge of the wood line, even tighter to the food, and it creates more space for our bucks. So that's the idea. We'll continue to show you guys what we got going on. What's going on, everybody? Karl from The Obsession. We're on level 2 right now. This is actually our pond plot, is what we call this. You guys can see it's the clover mix that I use. 3 different types of clover in this particular spot. But it's a good holder for antlerless deer throughout the season. Keeps them, gives them some food to eat, things like that. Helps keep a few of the antlerless deer on the property. So this year I had 2 clover plots, well 3 total. I actually had the apple orchard, which is level 3. This particular plot we call the pond plot, which is, there's a 110-gallon water hole over here. And then there's another plot, my mom's plot, which is clover also. So this is further to the west from our main cornfield, our long narrow cornfield with 2 kill plots on it. I got a camera right behind the video camera right now. We got another camera over here. This camera kind of controls and takes pictures of the center of the property. This is actually on the mock scrape I showed you guys. You can see that the ladder stands tucked up in there in that pine tree. It's tight shooting out of there. Probably should cut a couple limbs down. We might do that later today, but we want to put another ladder stand probably back up here in this corner and over here in this elm tree. That way you can kind of control based off of wind direction. You can hunt this one on a west and that one on an east or a south. That would work also. That would be great. So that's kind of the plan. I brought a few ladder stands from home that we've got, and we're going to kind of keep them on the property just to, in case we got to move some stuff around this year. So that being said, this particular plot's where I had Bubba Sparks come in last year, but he had already broke one antler off. So we had a little bit of aggression with our bucks last year, and so we didn't shoot him. Good deer. He'll be a good deer this year. Hopefully he'll be around. We'll see. But clover's looking really good. I did fertilize about a week ago. Seems to help it quite a bit. So we're going to go over, check one more plot. That'll be the parking plot or the shocker plot where I shot shocker last year. And that'll be it for level 2. We'll head to level 3, show you guys the rest of it. Stick around. Alright guys, so we are in the shocker plot, or the parking plot I call it. You can see how well the brassicas are doing here. Now this is purple top turnip and tillage radish, and that is it in here. I did recently overseed with about 100 pounds of rye per acre. Just kind of in a couple of these open spots where you can see the buckwheat that we terminated. Just to kind of fill it in a little bit more. Things are looking great here. You guys seen there's a stand on each side of the property, or each side of the plot. Also with the mock scrape on the west side of the plot. That stand on that side in that pine was where I was sitting when I shot shocker last year. Basically about right where the camera is where I shot him. Down here in a big white oak, you can see we put a new ladder in there on the west side, so we can hunt that with a west wind. There's a cliff, a sheer cliff, drops off about 30 feet directly behind that. The deer will travel the edge of that cliff, but by the time they were going to wind you, you could have already shot them. I'm really thinking they don't spend much time basically on that northwest side or northeast side anyway. They actually come in, would be up about 10 or 15 yards to the south of that particular stand when they enter here. That's what our cameras are showing again this year. Great early spot for does. Great spot after October 20th for all of our bucks. Every buck seems to, that's on the property, that's on the west side of the property, seems to use this scrape setup in here, this mock scrape. So, major hub for buck activity from October 20th on. Seems to be pretty good. We're hoping that this is successful this year. Like, this is the first year that I've actually had it in brassicas. Past 2 years it's been nothing but clover. So, we'll see how it goes, I guess. Anyway, that's it for level 2. Obviously you guys seen we got the big long east-west plot in the middle. There's two kill plots on that. Those are brassicas. And then we've got our clover plot, and then we've got this particular plot here also. So that's level 2, east-west movement based off of structure with corn and the hillside for changing the levels. Entrance and exits all north-south on all these tree stands, and deer movements east-west. So we're running perpendicular to their movements, which allows us to intersect in only a few spots and hopefully keep low education of our deer. Also, the kill plots, well, we call them kill plots, are basically to segregate the deer herd. Keep doe groups here, doe groups in the center, doe groups on the far east side. That way we can hold more deer on the property. If there's less social stress for them, the more deer will actually stay in the area. The whole deal is to promote less social stress for the bucks so we can get more mature bucks on the property. So we'll see how that works out. We're going to go level 3 next. I'm going to start up there with my dad's plot, and we're going to go to the apple orchard. We're going to run you guys through there. We're going to show you guys the new plot that we put in. It's a brassica plot that we put in. I think it'll be really good for decoying. And then we're going to run over to the shooting gallery, and that'll be level 3, just up above this area here by probably 100-150 yards. So stick around for that. So this is my dad's plot. Level 3 is what we're talking about right here. You guys can see that I had corn. I probably got 6 rows of corn up above here. Would be the south side on the upper hillside part. Reason for that is that the bedding area is directly above us by 30 or 40 yards. You guys can see that we got the condo back in here for my dad. He'll be crossbow hunting. He's 77, gonna be 78 years old. And him and my mom will both be crossbow hunting early season. Brassicas look awesome. I'm really happy about the way the brassicas are coming up. Looks like the urea really did its job, so that's good. Tillage radish and purple top turnip in this one alone. That's it. Hopefully things will continue to go well. I can see that the deer are nipping at the tops of them a little bit here, not too bad. So hopefully this growth will come up. We got this pine tree right here in front of me. I'm expecting there to be a scrape underneath that. That's why I left that pine branch off of there. Got cameras running here on the east side, or the west side, and on the east side of the plot. This kind of rolls. You can't see the other side, but there's an inside corner there. The corn actually bends around, does an L shape, creates an inside corner over here. 25 yards each way from the tree stand. Kind of a nice little kill plot just off of a bedding area. Entry from the south comes up behind those pines and you sneak in. Get right back into the back side of the blind. Hoping this is going to be a really good spot for my dad. Hopefully he'll get a chance to take a good buck out of here. But like I said, this is level 3, far west side of the property. We're going to work our way to the east. We'll talk about it as we go. I'm going to head over to the apple orchard. From the edge of this particular plot to the apple orchard is about 100, probably 100, 125 yards. The apple orchard more in the middle of the plot at this particular level. So again, we're creating that east-west movement corridor for deer to move east-west and then drop level to level. Hopefully being able to hold more deer on the property. You guys get the idea how we laid this out. So we're going to head over there next. The deer have already created a path from this spot straight to the apple orchard. So that tells me that our design is working really well. And I'm expecting some pretty good things this year. So stick around. But this makes me real happy. Really happy the way the brassicas are. We'll be back in a second. Well, this is my apple orchard. You can see we got a little bit of grass growing in our clover here. This is the clover mix. I've been in here. This is the 3rd year now. So next year we'll change this a little bit. I'm going to probably add more apple trees. I'm thinking we can get probably 7 to 10 more apple trees in here, and that'll have a nice little orchard going right here. We actually had an apple down here on this tree this year. So now the other part of that is I got to keep it a little bit cleaner inside these cages, I think. Stressed out the apple trees, a couple of them a little bit, but I think we'll be just fine. A lot of them are doing really well, but something to keep in mind, making sure that you mulch around your apple trees and protect them with the cages. If we didn't keep these apple trees caged at these young ages, they would get destroyed. The deer would just tear them up. So something to remember there. You guys can see we've got the stand back behind me here in that pine tree. Got a mock scrape with an Exodus on it right here. A lot of activity going on actually right now in this particular plot. None of the bigger bucks have shown up. I think half of that has to do with where things are starting to change just now. It's beginning of September. We usually get a lot of our bigger deer moving in late September, early October is when we start to really get our deer here because we set the property up for fall food. So things are decent. You guys seen I did a pan shot from my dad's plot, which is to the east of me here. Like I said, it's about 100 something, 125, 150 yards. And we're heading straight to the east here. So this is the upper level of level 3. We're going to show you guys where we've got a plot that's probably about 75, 80 yards down below us here that connects almost to level 2. You could kind of call it level 2, level 3. But we're thinking that'll be a great spot for decoying this year. We got to stand in the corner. But this particular plot's where you guys seen me and Bob Top have an experience with Twin Towers. First year I owned the property. Just a beautiful giant 10-pointer that Bob chose not to shoot. So this particular plot, I've also got a mowed trail that heads over here to level 4. Level 4 is 2 cornfields. I'll show that to you guys shortly, and we'll talk about that when we get there. But those cornfields are basically there to create structure for east-west movement again for level 4, just below where we had put some switchgrass this year. So Level 3, another plot. Does and fawns using the heck out of it right now, so that's great for the plant. Does and fawns here, does and fawns there, does and fawns in our other little kill plots. That helps hold more deer, less stress. Right now, I would say for the property, we're doing pretty good. We're probably gonna have to take out a couple does this year, and we'll try and do that first 2 weeks of bow season. For watch for that, you guys. We'll be doing weekly shows on the hunts, what we're seeing in the woods here in southern Wisconsin, and over there on the eastern Wisconsin with Mike and central Wisconsin with Mike. Show you guys what we've got going on and what we're seeing in the woods to help you guys maybe make your decisions on whether you're hunting here in Wisconsin or not this year. So, that being said, we're going to head over to the shooting gallery next, show you guys that. That'll be our furthest plot to the east on level 3, and that'll be the complete layout for the level 1, 2, and 3. Alright guys, this is the last one for levels 1, 2, and 3. This is actually what I call the shooting gallery. You guys can see the pan shot I did here. We've got a ladder stand actually snuck up in this corner in this pine. There is another stand here on level 4, directly behind the camera, about 20 yards, big old elm tree between these two cornfields. We'll talk about that on next week's show and why that's there. This is brassicas, and in this plot we got tillage radish, we've got winter peas, what else? Buckwheat. I put buckwheat in there. So buckwheat, winter peas, and tillage radish in this particular plot. It all seems to be coming up fairly decent. It's not as good as some of the other plots. I also overseeded. You guys can see a lot of the green little stalks. Again, that's winter rye. I did that last week. We had some rain moving in. So 150 pounds per acre of winter rye right here also added to help keep everything green. The corn around the outer edges creates an inside corner hunt. Easy in, easy out of that stand. Drops right down into this valley and you head straight out to the north to cut down through the bottom and out. Not educating any deer up in this particular level when you're doing that. So that being said, this is kind of the end of level 3. This is the furthest east plot that we've got. I'm expecting some pretty good activity in here. They got a camera over here to the east. Seems to be showing quite a few does and fawns in here. Like I said, the shift hasn't really happened here yet. We're seeing a few of our bigger bucks just kind of testing the area. I think they're just kind of coming through, checking things out, seeing where everything is. But we get a lot of movement of our bigger deer coming in here in September, late September or early October. So hopefully it'll be a productive year. Stick around for that. Also, like I said before, we're going to be going on an antelope hunt here shortly. So the small property layouts are actually going to stop on Wednesdays after these next 2 shows. So this particular show and then my level 4, 5, and 6. I'll show that to you guys next week. But that being said, we're going to start going to hunts now. I've got a few hunts already lined up. A couple of the guys went out. They did some prairie dog hunting, which is pretty cool. We get a lot of people like to enjoy watching that. We've also got Zach and Mitch heading down to, I think they went to Oklahoma this year. Took Mitch's little brother with them. We got a pig hunt. The guys had a good time down there. We'll show you guys that hunt coming up also. And then of course we're going to cut into all of our whitetail hunting throughout the year. And predictions as we go through, talking about weather, talking about how we're gonna see deer movement, how we predict deer movement with weather more than anything else. We're big front hunters, and we'll talk about that as we progress throughout the season. We're also going to bring you guys all those hunts that we have this year. We've got guys in Iowa, Minnesota, Illinois, here in Wisconsin. Should be pretty interesting this year to see how things go. Hopefully we'll put down some good bucks for you guys. Last year was good. Hopefully this year will be just as good. So we appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate all the subscriptions. You guys got anything you want to ask, any questions, any comments, good or bad, guys, put them right here in the comments. We appreciate each and every one of them. We appreciate each and every one of you guys watching. If you get a chance, be sure to share it and subscribe. We appreciate all the subscriptions. So that's level 1s, 2, and 3 for the Triple B. Hopefully it'll be productive. We'll do 4, 5, and 6.